Okay, so I had the grand idea of doing a Mortal Kombat series tier list with the legacy game announcement, uh, kind of bringing a spotlight on the older games again. Um, I myself, to be kind of honest, have been watching a lot of older MK content. Shout out to Ketchup and Mustard, probably my favorite YouTube channel right now. Um, so I just wanted to, especially with the kind of the end of MK1 being here, I kind of just wanted to do a tier list of the Mortal Kombat games. Um, Now, these are just my opinions. um, I'm going to talk about, explain my reasoning for each pick, but these are just my opinions. Um, Debate me if you want to. I actually would love to hear your reasonings for, why you disagree or agree with my picks. But regardless, disclaimer, these are just my opinions. Okay. All right. So, without further ado, let's just go ahead and get started. So, we have S tier, which is going to be in order. I try to limit S tier to at least five, basically just the top five games um, that I think are top five in the MK world. Then we have A tier, B tier, C tier, and then have not played, because there are just a couple games I have not played yet in the series. These are the list of games that we have to choose from. This is literally like I want to say, yeah, I think this is literally everything. Like literally, mythology, special forces is here. MK versus DC, vanilla MK3, UMK3, MK Advance, like everything's here. So, um, we just go through it, and so I don't know where to start. I don't know if I should start my top five or just go through the list in order of release date. We'll do that. We'll go through order of release date. Now, some of these I might have wrong because I don't know the release date of everything. I ain't even gonna hold you. All right, but anyways, let's start with the granddaddy of them all in the first game, which is Mortal Kombat 1 or MK92, as we're probably gonna have to start calling it with MK1 just coming out. So personally, I had the first MK right at A tier, not quite S tier. Main reason being, I mean, it's limited and like it can't really help that. You know what I'm saying? It was the first game of the series, so it's brand new. Like it's not gonna come right out the box with everything that we know and love about the series as a whole. It was kind of the building blocks, the foundations. But with that being said, I really, really like, the first Mortal Kombat. Um, Actually, like some of the first like memories I have with video games in general comes from the first Mortal Kombat. MK, this came out in 92. I was born in 95. Don't say a damn thing about my age. I was born in 95. And I remember playing this, I think, when I was like 4. Like some of the first two games I remember playing was Mortal Kombat and Spyro and like Tekken. But with all that being said, like my love for video games in general, not just fighting games or just Mortal Kombat, kind of stems from this game. So I have it high enough, but I don't think it's quite S tier in my opinion. So yeah, MK92. Mortal Kombat 2. All right. So I want to say within the past month, I've been watching and playing a lot of Mortal Kombat 2. Um so originally it probably would have been A tier along with Mortal Kombat 1, the first one, but I think now I have it in S tier. MK2 is amazing, bro. MK2 is amazing. It's just, I think when a lot of people hear Mortal Kombat, the games that you think of are MK2 and MK3 are UMK3. I think MK2 literally picked up where MK1 left off, the original MK1 left off, and just like made the game better. You got more characters, more special moves. Everybody has 2 fatalities. You got more stage fatalities. A little bit more strategy with it, move list slightly being expanded, not too crazy yet. We're not getting into it yet. But MK2, man, like I've always liked it. But I think just recently within the past month or two, I've grown to really, really love this game. I think it's very dope. And to be honest, it's one of the ones I'm the most excited about with the Legacy Collection. It's going to be fun to kind of revisit this game and, play it online. Yeah, see everybody else kind of, get exposed to it. Definitely one of the hardest. I think it is the hardest game in the series to beat, like the tower wise. Fun fact, I just recently beat the tower finally, despite me playing this game back when I was like 6 or 7. Super hard. But all that to say, I think MK2 is amazing and it's S tier. Remember, S tier is in order. This is the first one I'm just gonna put here. I'll talk about the order, and I'm gonna limit it to 5. This isn't number 1 though, so just don't worry about that. I'll talk about the order once we put more stuff there. All right, MK3. And let's talk about vanilla MK3. Personally, vanilla MK3 B tier. I might even put it at C tier, low key, but I'll leave it at B tier for now. MK3 are the original MK3, now called vanilla MK3. Just compared to his predecessor, let me go ahead and put UMK3 up here too. I'll talk about them at the same time. UMK3 to me is S tier. Amazing. So the reason the difference between the two. So MK3 released before Ultimate, of course. Ultimate was kind of like the final edition of MK3. MK3 plays a little bit differently. I believe combos and stuff are a little bit different. And it's missing some characters. It's missing some like very core characters. Now with UMK3, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. It's number 3 for me in my S tier. UMK3 being my favorite game. In vanilla MK3, there's no Scorpion. So I forgot who I made in vanilla MK3. I think it might have been Cyrax. But like it's missing characters. It just doesn't feel complete. UMK3 is the best version of MK3. But I mean, it's not bad. MK3 as a whole just introduced the run button, which is where MK started getting crazy. And it introduced the Dow combos or the Dow strings. Amazing. This is kind of where like the MK that we know and love today kind of like started to come into fruition. And like I said, when it comes to when people think of MK in general, MK2 or MK3 are the ones that I think most people kind of think about when you mention Mortal Kombat. You've only played the OG MK1 X11 and one of them that was on PS1. That was MK4, which kind of leads me. I know I'm kind of going out of order of the releases because I know I think I actually no. Let me stay in order. I'll get to MK4, but yeah. So UMK3 for me is top three. Vanilla MK3 is still MK3, but it's just not. I don't think it's the best version of it. Which leads me to Trilogy. MK Trilogy. I'm probably gonna create some enemies with it. Actually, hold on. Wait. Let me think really hard. Let me think really hard. MK Trilogy, man. Um, damn. All right, okay. So I'm gonna put it here in A tier. Now, if I wasn't limiting S tier to 5 choices, Trilogy would easily be, I think, S. Um, I think it's another one of those games I spent a lot of time with. Trilogy was on PS1 and Nintendo 64. The version I played the most was the PS1 one. My older cousin had it. Um, and I used to. So when my older cousin would get new like consoles, he would leave his older console at our grandma's, so all the grandkids would have something to play. So he left his PS1 and MK Trilogy there while I was like, spending a lot of time at my grandma's. So I played a lot of MK Trilogy. MK Trilogy, with the cheat menu and the one button fatalities. Oh my god, it was so sick. MK Trilogy is, I think, basically you might as well say it's another version of 3, but it includes all the characters, and the PS1 version, it includes the characters from 1, 2, and 3. And if the characters appeared across multiple games, it included their older versions and their newer versions in UMK3. So there were 2 Kung Laos, 2 Raidens, 2 Kanos. Yeah. But for me personally, I just like UMK3 and 2 just a little bit better. Now, I do actually own a copy of Trilogy today. Now, when I go back and play Trilogy a little bit more, this might change. But the only reason it's sitting in A is because I'm limiting S to 5 picks. If it was more than 5 picks, you know what? I'm not. I take it back. It's going to be 6. It's going to be the top 6 because I just feel bad about putting Trilogy. I feel bad about putting Trilogy in S, I mean in A. So, and it definitely deserves S. So, all right, yeah, not changing my rules anymore. All right, so that's our tier list so far. Let's go ahead and knock out Sub-Zero Mythologies and Special Forces because these are easy. So I personally haven't played either one of these. Now I know Sub-Zero Mythologies is very classic. There's a lot of classic moments with Sub-Zero Mythologies. I haven't personally played it myself, but I've watched many a playthroughs of this game. It looks funny. I'm not even gonna lie. I feel like it would piss me off if I play it. Who knows? If they add it to Legacy Collection, I'll do a playthrough of it. Even if they don't add it to Legacy Collection, I still might do a playthrough of it. But I haven't personally played it myself. I've watched the story. I know all about it. I just haven't touched it and played it myself. Same with Special Forces. I've constantly heard this is one of the worst games ever. It just looks funny. Now I haven't watched any playthroughs of this game. I might do that, but I haven't played either one of those. So those are out the way. All right, which leads us to MK4 and MK Goal. Now, MK4 for me is gonna sit in C tier. Now the only reason for that is because I think when it comes to the games in the series that I have played, the ones that I've spent the least time with was MK4. I remember playing it growing up. I remember, so it was on PS1 and Nintendo 64. I remember my dad, he rented it on PS1, and I remember watching him play like before I even played it. And bruh, I think he was playing Fuji, and I think he lost to like the first person in the ladder, and he just didn't play it again. And it was so funny. But so then, I played it, of course, with my sisters. Me and my cousin played it. There used to be a guy that sold video games at the flea market that we used to go to when I grew up. He would always have like a TV with MK4 on it and let people play it. I played it a lot there. It was in one of the barcades I used to frequent a lot back in college and when I became an adult. So I played it a lot there against people in barcades, which was fun because they'd be like, "Whoa, you good, bro? You're good in this game." So MK4, yeah, it's gonna sit in C tier for me. I think Legacy Collection is definitely gonna change it. I feel like I might like it a lot. MK4 kind of introduced like the weird 3D. Like it was 3D, but it wasn't quite 3D. And it also introduced weapons, which was interesting. I don't know. MK4's gameplay always looked weird to me when it came to MK, but I mean, I know some people that do love it. Now, when it does come to MK4, I have played MK Gold a little bit as well. I personally shit. I put it B tier. Now, Mortal Kombat Gold is basically so MK4 Mortal Kombat Gold is pretty much the same way MK3 and UMK3 is. MK Gold is just like the better, more complete version of MK4. It adds a couple exclusive characters such as Melina. My boo's at MK Gold, so I kind of have to like it. Such as Melina, Sector. Who else was an exclusive character? Was it Tanya? No, Tanya was. I think Tanya was in base MK4. There's somebody else that was exclusive that I can't remember. But I've played it about the same as MK4. It was exclusive to the Dreamcast. So I think if I had to pick between MK4 and MK Gold, it's definitely MK Gold. Yeah. All right, so after MK4, we are getting into the 3D era now, which leads me to Deadly Alliance. Deadly Alliance, personally. All right, so I had it backwards. UMK3 is top 3 for me, but it's number 2. Deadly Alliance is my number 3. There's a great reasoning for that. So, MK Deadly Alliance, and I'll go ahead and I'll throw the Game Boy Advance version up here too. This is the only like mobile Mortal Kombat handheld Mortal Kombat I played outside of MK2 on the Game Boy Color. I didn't like it that much. I mean, it's cool having a handheld MK, but like I didn't like it that much. It added like Sector and I think Serena, but like I really didn't like it that much. Hopefully that changes with the Legacy Collection. I'll probably revisit it then. But MK Deadly Alliance. So wasn't a real. I think it was a release game for the original Xbox. So when I got my original Xbox, I also got a copy of MK Deadly Alliance. I think when it comes to total playtime, uh, Deadly Alliance and MKX, I think are the two I've played the most. Um, that game is so nostalgic for me, man. And it's the first 3D era MK. I think they kind of nailed the gameplay mechanics. Granted, I mean the game's like busted. The game's super busted, but I think they kind of, for the time, nailed the gameplay mechanics. 3D was the thing. Tekken was big back then with the 3D era stuff. Soul Calibur was big. Freaking DOA, some Mortal Kombat, kind of follow suit with the 3D games. Yeah, MK Deadly Alliance. That's my game, man. Played it a lot. Something about just the package as a whole was dope. Like the secret characters that you got for beating conquest mode, the crypt, and getting up currency. And buying characters, the fatalities in 3D, which was weird. It was interesting to see back then. The story, freaking Liu Kang dying in the intro, literally shocking us all. I remember when I put that game in on Christmas morning, and the first thing that me and my sister see is Liu Kang getting his neck snapped. Bruh, we were all like speechless. We was like, bro, they killed Liu Kang. Which up until this point, Liu Kang, Melina, and Scorpion were my favorite MK characters. Still kind of are. But seeing Liu Kang die made me really kind of sad. But MK Deadly Alliance, it's a golden game. And it's number 3 for me when it comes to the MK games. Now, let's go ahead and, because I just said I didn't play a lot of the mobile game, like the handheld games. Didn't play Ultimate MK. Didn't play MKA. Now, I did play Unchained, which kind of leads me to Deception. So, a lot of people find it weird when I say I have Deadly Alliance over Deception, but I do. Deception to a lot of people is like the pinnacle of 3D MK. And I mean, kind of well warranted. The gameplay just improved apart from Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. We got death traps. We got, I think every character has 2 fatalities in Mortal Kombat Deception. Harakiris, which were hilarious, where the opponent would kill those. Let me go ahead and actually rank this. But oh my bad. But Deception isn't quite S tier for me. It's slightly A tier. And I think the reasoning behind that is just I played Deadly Alliance a little bit more. I think if I spent about the same amount of time on Deception as I did Deadly Alliance, Deception could easily be in Deadly Alliance's place. Because they're both amazing games. Deception did give you a little more with the game modes. I think Puzzle Combat came in Deception. Chess Combat, which is where you choose like your chess pieces. That was fun. Me and my little brother played that a lot. And then the conquest mode. That's what literally everyone talks about when they talk about Deception, is the conquest mode. Sheesh, bruh. Like, oh man. To this day, I think that's still like one of my favorite MK story modes. It's because it's just it's sick going to all the different realms, kind of like an open world type thing. Meeting all the different characters and they element, and then in turn learning how to play with each character. Yeah, still one of the best story modes I played. Unaga was an annoying boss. I got Melina back in Deception for the first time in a long time. Um, yeah, I really think the whole reason why Deadly Alliance is slightly above Deception for me is because I played it more. Now, if I wasn't limiting it to 6, again, if I wasn't limiting it to 6, I feel like I could easily put Deception S tier, but we're going to stick with my rules. So, same thing for Mortal Kombat Unchained. I forgot about Mortal Kombat Unchained. I'll put it B tier. Mortal Kombat Unchained was basically Deception on PSP. I think you got some extra characters. I want to say Jax and somebody else. I can't remember off the top of my head. But it was cool having this on PSP for like, you know, road trips and stuff outside of like it wasn't quite Deception in my opinion, but I mean it was still a port of Deception, which was, you know, kind of sick. Yeah, not too much I got to say on Unchained, but Deception was an amazing game. Now, Armageddon. This might be controversial. This might be controversial. But personally, Mortal Kombat Mortal Kombat Armageddon C tier for me. Actually, okay, yeah, I'll have it at the top of C tier. Reasonings why. Now, I feel like Mortal Kombat Armageddon low-key kind of gave us like content overload, bro. Like there was a lot of content, but after a while it just began to feel like bloated. You had like the create a character, which was sick, and you could have many combinations of like custom characters you can create. Motor combat, like the Mario Kart Mortal Kombat mode. Too many memories, bro. Too many memories. So much fun. And Armageddon even has its own like, you know, conquest mode that's similar to Deception. It's just at times that the story in Armageddon's conquest became a little too hard to like follow and complicated. Especially when like, yeah, you get Taven and Dagon, you know, Taven, I feel like I got their names mixed up, but I feel like so in the conquest, Taven's basically the one that ends up beating Blaze. But like just to find out later in MK9 that, you know, it was Shao, so I'm like, okay, what was the point? What was the point of the conquest mode if we're not continuing that story and all this other stuff? So it just became pointless. Now, don't get me wrong, the conquest was very fun. Motor combat was very fun. But when we get to like the actual gameplay of Armageddon, parts of it just felt like very weird. Like they added the air combat system where you could like do strings in the air. Instead of all the characters having 3 stances, 2 hand-to-hand combat stances, and like weapon stance, it was like 1 hand-to-hand and a, you know, weapon. But they had to do that because they're literally including every single Mortal Kombat character, so everybody can't have three stances. Like, you know, you're gonna run out of, you know, you're gonna run into duplicates, you're gonna run out of ideas for certain people and things like that. And in my opinion, it was too much. It was like overload. Like, yeah, we got everybody, but like it was too much. We still got death traps. That was cool. Some of the older stages came back. Yeah, it was just like, it probably could be in B tier. It was very fun to play, but I think I'm gonna put it at C tier. Also, the creative fatality system was very weird. Very weird. Yeah, Yeah, yeah. Um, and the oh my god, bro, the Wii port of this game was so funny. You got to do like the motions to do the special, bruh. Bruh. Okay, yeah, Armageddon C tier. Moving on. After Armageddon, we got Shaolin Monks, top of A. Top of A. Only reason it's not gonna be an S is because I have to limit it to 5, 6. I have to limit it to 6. Um, bruh, Shaolin Monks. Please, NRS, if you're listening to me, please give me a remaster of Shaolin Monks, and I wouldn't want anything else, bruh. I wouldn't want anything else, bruh. So like basically everything I loved about the Deception Conquest, um, Shaolin Monks basically takes that and makes it better. Like it's a co-op game. You're playing with two super iconic characters instead of Shujinko, but you're playing with like Liu and Kung Lao. You can play co-op. You get their special moves. It's kind of you going through each of the like classic MK like stages and realms, like the pit, living forest, like outward. Like it's so sick, bro. God, I think I'm due for a Shaolin Monks playthrough. I actually had the physical copy. I found it a couple months back and I had to buy it on PS2. Um, Amazing game. Kind of sucks we never got like a follow up yet. Hopefully we do get a follow up. But hopefully we get like a remaster or something because this game's amazing. If you haven't played Shaolin Monks, go back and play it because, bruh, it's amazing. Okay. Who? MK versus DC. I'll put it here. Granted, these aren't in order, but I'm still trying to put them in like somewhat of an order. Bro. MKDC. MK versus DC. I often like I would joke about how I had a bad dream that Mortal Kombat versus DC got a sequel and it was a tag game. Bro, I hate this game. God, I hate this game, bro. Um Now don't get me wrong, it's very funny. And even at times it's kind of fun to play with, but it's so busted. It's so busted and it basically takes MK and makes it not MK. Like I think I found my next video. I'm gonna do a rating and reacting to Mortal Kombat versus DC fatalities and heroic brutalities. So the fatalities in MK versus DC are kind of dumbed down, whereas if like a character dies, they die off screen to kind of avoid the superheroes being killed because DC didn't want that, or they're just kind of incapacitated. And then the superheroes didn't have fatalities; they have heroic brutalities, where they incapacitate their opponent but not kill them. Oh my god! And then the whole stage transition, the stage transition feature where you can knock somebody like through a wall or knock them down to a lower level of a stage, bro. And the grabs, oh my god, yeah, this game, I kind of wish we would have got the rumored MK8 instead of Mortal Kombat versus DC, bro. Now don't get me wrong, the story mode is amazing. The story mode of Mortal Kombat versus DC, I think, lays the foundation for what we got in the rest of the MKs that follows it. But god damn. God damn, bro. Yeah. Yeah. Bro, in the combo trials, some of the hardest combo trials I have ever seen. Like, they're so stupid. I might try to do those one of these days. I have Mortal Kombat versus DC as well. So I started collecting old games, off topic. And I found a lot of the older MKs. That's why I still have them physically. But yeah, MK versus DC, definitely C tier. All right. Now we're getting into the NRS era, and we're starting with. I already started with a banger. MK9. I'm sorry, S tier, right up here. MK9 for me sits at number 4. Um, when it comes to like the whole series and putting them in order, it sits at number 4 for me. Now, if we're just talking about NRS games, it's easily number 2 or number 3. But it sits at number 4 for me. It revitalized the series, kind of modernized the game, but kind of, it stuck true to basically what made MK. This was kind of, in a way, my introduction to like competitive play. Now, I didn't travel or compete yet by the time this game came out, but I was definitely paying attention to tournaments and, trying to learn what it meant to lab characters and stuff like that at this point. I did go to a tournament for MK9. That was one of the first tournament. It was the first tournament I ever went to. There was like a release week tournament at the mall. Like, I think the week after MK9 came out, and I went to that, and that was like my first like taste of competing, which was very sick. I think I got like 5th place playing Katana. Yeah, I got like 5th place. But outside of that, bro, this game. I mean, what bad thing can you say about MK9? The gameplay is amazing. We got a lot of content in MK9. I don't think people realize how much content is in MK9. The story mode is amazing. Basically reboots the series, gives it a new breath of life, but also kind of goes back to its roots. No longer 3D. It's like 2.5D, 3D models, but on a 2D plane. The challenge tower with all 300 challenges. Tag mode. Freaking also has a crypt. There's so much content. We got the DLC guest characters and Freddy Krueger, and Kratos if you had PS3. This game was just beautiful, bro. It was beautiful all the way around. And like, bruh, they made up for MK versus DC not being able to be violent. They made up for it tremendously because MK9, MK9 is very violent, but I love it. I feel like this game would be higher if I realized that there was a competitive scene in my state when this game came out, and I was able to, like travel more to locals or to regionals and played it. I feel like I would hold this game a little bit higher, but I still hold it kind of very high just because it's an amazing game. Oh man, I just remembered. Yo, the freaking King of the Hills. I used to sit in, so I would get off of work. I used to work at Balo. It was a grocery store. I used to work at a grocery store when I was in high school. I would come home, hop on Xbox and sit in the King of the Hill all night. And bruh, the Xbox King of the Hills, your Xbox avatars are like sitting in a theater, and like the two characters that were fighting were like up on stage, and then like you could watch bruh. Oh my God, memories. Memories. This game was very busted. Very, very busted. Jesus. Very busted. But it was fun. It was very, very fun. MK9, very solid. I know this is some people's like number 1 throughout the whole series. It's sitting at number 4 for me. just because I think I spent more time with Deadly Alliance, and UMK3 is just, oh my god, how can you not like UMK3? Which leads me to MKX. And if you know me, you already know. You already know. MKX is the best Mortal Kombat, in my opinion. The best Mortal Kombat. Easy. It's so fun. It's to this day on every console, on my PC, MKX stays installed because I always go back to this game and I always play it. Is this game busted? Yes. Who cares? The gameplay of this game is so fun. Oh my god, bro. And another reason why it's near and dear to my heart is because this was around the time I really, really started like getting on my ish when it came to competing, and it came to when it came to like labbing, understanding frame data, understanding optimal combos, and understanding fighting game terminology and the basics and things like that. MKX is really like the birth of that. I went to my first major for MKX. It was for MKX and Injustice 2, but I went to my first major for MKX. I was heavy in the online circuit until they unfortunately took our ability to have routers in our rooms at college. I had to stop competing then. But like, this is like the start of basically the player and kind of who I am today. It just started at MKX, bro. I literally learned, I think, a variation of every character except for like Goro and Quan Chi and Ferritor. But yeah, the variation system, the fast like gameplay with the run button coming back, the story mode was amazing. I think this was the first game we got Test Your Luck. I think I could be wrong. It might have been 9. Okay, Test Your Luck might have came in 9, but I think we got it again in X. But either way, it was cool. We got the living towers, the towers that even to this day, because the server is still up, that constantly update depending on the day of the week or where we are in the year. Online King of the Hills, online lobbies, running in rank. Oh my god, this game is near and dear to my heart. Met my best friend through this game. Actually, I met him. Well, we kind of became like best friends through this game, bro. And playing first to 100 sets when we should be going to the library in college and studying and finishing assignments and things like that, bro. I could talk literally days about MKX. I love this game, bro. Love this game, bro. Definitely my all-time favorite in the series. What else about MKX? The guest characters. I think I'll talk about it a little bit more in a minute. But the guest characters were amazing. The DLC was amazing. The update to Excel when we finally got rollback netcode, bro. Oh my god. All right, I'm gonna just stop because I'm gonna just keep talking about MKX. But MKX is amazing. All right, so this is my S tier again in order, and I'm limiting it to 6. Speaking too fast. It was 5, but I kind of felt the way with Trilogy, so I had to expand it a little bit. MKX sitting at number 1 for me. UMK3 sitting at 2. Deadly Alliance at 3. My favorite from the 3D era. MK9 at 4. Amazing game. Literally nothing wrong with it. Literally nothing wrong with it. Like, low key, if I wanted to, MK9 could be 2 and UMK3 could be 3. But I just personally have UMK3 sitting at 2. MK2, a newly found favorite for me. Played it back in the day, but I think I have a newly found respect for it coming back and, watching and paying attention to it. And MK Trilogy. Shaolin Monks could easily be up here. Deception easily could be up here. So these are very high tier. Very high tier. Talking about a little bit more, MK1 low-key could be B, but I'll leave it there. All right, we got two more. MK11. Oof. This is a hard one. MK11 is a hard one. My bad, y'all. I keep clicking my screen. MK11. MK11 is either here or here. It's either high B or low A. I'll put it here. MK11 coming off of the hype and success of what MKX was a completely different game than what we all were expecting. MK11, they kind of slowed it down, made it a little bit more methodical. The visuals of MK11 are amazing. And I think MK11 as a total package, when I say a total package, I mean as a game as a whole. But I'm talking content, I'm talking, the functionality of the game. Actually, you know what? Me saying that, okay, it goes to low B. It goes to high B. I'm sorry. I said functionality of the game. I had to remember MK11 released with mad bugs. Released with mad bugs and with pokes not gelling into strings. Yeah. And just mechanically, oh my God. Mechanically, MK11 is bad, bruh. Because the whole... Where do I start? The Fallout system where you just fall out of combos was stupid. And then, we got, armor breaks because Fallouts had armor on them. And then later we got armor breaks added. But some characters had useless armor break moves. Useless armor break moves. So, like, for some characters, it kind of was just non-existent. But, like, the fact that you could just fall out of my combo and then just punish me for, getting the hit. Meter coming back automatically instead of, like, it kind of lessened the skill of meter management. You still had to manage your meter, but it wasn't that big of a thing in 11 because, your meter's going to come back. Crushing blows on paper. Some of them I think were amazing. And I think it was a cool mechanic. But good God, I think some characters had more or better crushing blows than other characters. Like, I mean, Cassie. The only two crushing blows I think I would get a lot was the nut punch one and the one where you get the third hit of the string if you hit them with it. But, like, whereas you got characters like Lou who literally lives and breathes freaking crushing blows. Same with Johnny, bro. Johnny barely had crushing blows, bro. But Lou, like, for a mechanic to be that good, I think you need to find a better way to balance it. Also, take them shits off of down twos and throws, please. Like, bruh, in a game that is very strike throw dependent, having characters who have crushing blow throws, and some characters had them off both throws, like both forward and back throws. Good God, bruh. No. No, no, bruh. Take them off throws, or if you're gonna leave them on throws, change the requirements of them. Like Melina had a throw crushing blow where if you didn't jump for I think 5 seconds and then you got a throw, it was a crushing blow. But punishing me for teching wrong in a game where I have to guess yeah, I don't know, bruh. I don't know. Like I see what they were going for. It just didn't. It just wasn't. Yeah, but the game as a whole, the customization, being able to customize variations, customize your characters, beautiful. The online, although I hate it, like with how Combat League kind of forced you into matches with high ping, or if players had Wi-Fi. That was stupid. I feel like if we had a Wi-Fi filter, it would have been better. But I mean, we had lobby systems and rooms where we could, play with each other. This is also the introduction of crossplay, where you could play across PS4 and Xbox. Yeah. And personally, honestly, if I could be kind of honest, playing this game competitively was amazing. Offline, let me add that. Playing this game competitively and offline is probably some of the most fun I've had competing in a fighting game. I think this game was beautiful offline, low key. But game was still stupid. So with all that being said, I think MK11 being a total package with, great content, great customization, fun game to compete in offline. I had a lot of fun competing in this game offline. It sits at B tier for me, which leads me to the final game of our list, Mortal Kombat 1. Now, I introduced the idea of being a complete package, right? With MK11. Excuse me. And it's why I have it, sitting at high B tier. It's a fun game. But the gameplay of it wasn't fun. For the most part. Competing in it offline, playing it offline in that setting, it was fun. But playing it anywhere else, kind of a headache. Now, MK1. Damn. And again, the rest of these outside of S aren't ordered. MK1 sits at high B, right there, if not just slightly below MK11. Reason being, now, MK1 as a gameplay wise, I think is very, very fun. Like, when we talking just gameplay, low key, it probably could be A. Like, the bottom of A. Because I personally think the gameplay of MK1 is pretty fun. It allows for creativity if you play it, that way. The cameo system, it was ambitious. I see what they were, going for, or trying to do. It's kind of like a spin on variations. But with them, never doing an assist based like game like that, you gotta remember tag and MK9 wasn't like a main focus mode. Like that was just something that was there on the side. Yeah, characters had assist and things like that, but it was never meant to be fleshed out and be the main, component of gameplay for MK9. Whereas cameos and assist is like like the main attraction when it comes to the gameplay of MK1. And I commend them. I commend them for trying it, but let's be honest, they didn't know how to balance cameos at all. At all. Even to this day, there's some cameos I just don't see like that, bro. They're very like character dependent. And even with some of those characters, for example, looking at you, Darius, and Goro, like for the characters that y'all work with, it's just better. Like they're better options. Like why would I choose Darius with Reiko when I could just choose Tremor? Or why would I choose? I mean, granted, so that basically brings the creativity into play. If you're somebody who you want to make that work, you want to play with different cameos, you have that ability to do that. If you're somebody who wants to explore all your options, you could do that. I play multiple cameos. I mainly just play Sector and Sector, Lao, and Sonya, but like I can play Chameleon. I could play a Serena. I could play Scorpion. I could play I can play with multiple different cameos. And I think that's where the exploration and creativity comes in MK1. So gameplay wise, I think it's fine. Now, where MK1 fails at, and it's my biggest gripe with the game. Again, I'm working on a video to kind of talk about MK1 from start to finish. But where MK1 starts to lose me is it being a complete package of a game. What I mean by that, MK1 is probably the worst game on release that we've had, especially in the NRS area. In the NRS era, I personally can't speak on like the whole, like the series as a whole, but I can for sure say in the NRS era, good God, in the NRS era, when it comes to releases, MK1 is easily the worst. It released with so many bugs. It released with so little content. It basically felt like it released unfinished. And me, the dumbass who paid $120 to play it a week early, mainly because I had a tournament like the next week, CEO Taku, 9th place. But paid $120 to pay to get the combat pack and to play it early. But I basically paid that much for an unfinished game. Like the game released with no crossplay. Releasing with no crossplay in 2025 is insane, bro. I had to buy it on both Xbox and PlayStation because I started TOing events, and most of my events, the competitive standard is PlayStation. And even if I wanted to like compete in different online events back then, I had to play on PlayStation. But personally, if I could just play on Xbox and PC, I would have just done that. I would have just played back and forth between Xbox if I needed to play on a console, like for traveling reasons. Because something that was dope is I used to travel with my Xbox Series S. That's something I could fit in like my carry-on, and I had a setup, for hotels at majors to practice and things like that. But no crossplay on release. Come on, bro. And then when the crossplay came, it was buggy for a little bit. And then, bro, the net code. All right, so we went from MKXL probably having one of the best fighting game netcodes there was. MKX at release did not have a good netcode, don't get me wrong. But when MKXL came out, low-key one of the best fighting game netcodes, I think, in the market at that time. Better than Street Fighter V, better than Tekken 7, better than anything else that really came out. Mortal Kombat, MKXL had an amazing netcode. MK11's netcode was good. Like I said, I didn't like that we were forced to, fight Wi-Fi players, but I mean, it is what it is. But when we connected, if it was a good connection, it was a good connection. MK1 was such a step back, bro, when it came to netcode. That netcode is horrible. Like, King of the Hills didn't work properly. I still think don't work properly. For example, for online tournaments, if the people who are playing didn't start the room and didn't send the invites, they might, experience some lag, which is crazy. Speaking of rooms, MK1 doesn't have rooms or lobbies. Like, how do we start in MK9 had rooms and lobbies, bro? Every game before MK1 had rooms and lobbies. I don't have that in MK1. It released without an online practice mode. I could go on and on. It released with it released without there were bugs offline. Like, I went to ECT. The amount of times we had to restart the game on the stream setup was insane, bruh. Like, it was just highly unacceptable of a release. Yes, it still does not have rooms record. Still does not have rooms record. But it basically, everything outside of just the gameplay of the game makes the game not enjoyable. There's not a lot of customization. There's not a lot to do outside of just playing Combat League. Like, the freaking invasions mode that they hyped up to be this amazing mode, horrible. Nobody plays invasions, bruh. So in the same sense of how I say MK11 being a complete package makes it, B, MK1, I feel like if you give me MK1 with the net code from 11 and XL and rooms, MK1 low key could be top of A. Easily top of A. You give me some more content, you give me some more rooms, easily top of A. Easily. But everything else that's surrounding the game just made it not fun to play. And after a while I became jaded of it. So it is where it is. All right. So this is our tier list so far. Whoa, this is everything. So there's nothing else to add. I kind of want to. Okay, let's go through and see if there's anything I possibly want to change. So the top 6 stays the same. No, I'm not changing the top 6. The only thing I possibly would change is maybe putting MK9 number 2, UMK 3, and Deadly Alliance 4. Actually, you know what? Looking at it a little bit more, I think I would do that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Nah, I ain't gonna do that. I can't do Deadly Alliance like that, bro. MK2, solid pick for 5. Trilogy for 6. Trilogy, I think, could easily be interchanged with Shaolin Monks. Shaolin Monks, the only reason it's not an S is because I'm limiting it to 6, or else it would be up there. I feel like if there's no limit on S, Shaolin Monks and Deception are up there as well. MK1, again, good, but not. It was good for what it was. It had no choice but to be, what it was. This is the first game of the series. MK11, Fun game to play offline, but mechanically the game is flawed. I think customization is great. The netcode, the game, the package. Oh, also the living towers are the, each character having like towers to unlock their skins and things like that, or other customization items. Having towers, that change depending on the time of day and things like that. Amazing. Things like that made MK11 amazing. MK1, great gameplay. Everything else surrounding that, very bad. Very, very bad, bro. But I think to play the game, just to play it and take it as it is, I think it was pretty good. NRS didn't know how to balance cameos or assist, so I don't fault them for that. It's okay. Mortal Kombat Unchained, I personally don't have a lot more to really say about that. It was fun having almost a copy of Deception on PSP. I think that was cool. Vanilla MK3, again, it's MK3, so, I love it, but it just was unfinished MK3. Mortal Kombat Gold, the better version of MK4, which probably this is the game I've played the least in the series, but, I mean, from what I remember, MK Gold was very fun. MK Armageddon, cool game for nostalgia purposes. Too much content. There's so much in Armageddon, and it just felt bloated at times. MK4, again, didn't spend too much time with it. Mortal Kombat versus DC. Honestly, bro, you know what? My bad. Mortal Kombat DC is going to hold my title as the worst Mortal Kombat right now. It's going to hold my title as the worst Mortal Kombat right now. And, of course, the rest of these Mortal Kombat Advanced, Ultimate MK on DS, Special Forces, Sub-Zero, I haven't played those yet. So, yeah. Yeah. That's my tier list, man. So, let me know what y'all think. W tier list, L tier list. What are y'all takes on it? What do you agree with? What you don't agree with? Let me know. If you stayed here to the end, go ahead and drop a thumbs up on the video. Leave me a like. Subscribe to the channel. Follow me on all of my other platforms, those being Twitch, TikTok, and Instagram. Follow me there as well. And yeah, this has been the Mortal Kombat series tier list. Until next time.